Good evening, this is Bob, and welcome to Bob's Tool Shop. Tonight we're going to do a little unboxing of this Geek Pi Raspberry Pi case that has got 4 layers on it. It's meant to hold 4 Raspberry Pis. I'm actually going to put 2 in it, and they're going to be, one's going to be a Logitech media server, and the other one's going to be a squeeze light endpoint for my audio system. So let's take a look at this. So we got this little rack tower manual, some fairly decent assembly instructions, it looks like. How to use the fan, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And yeah, just the whole assembly process looks pretty good. Okay, let's get the parts out here and see what we've got. So, nuts and screws and bolts, all that stuff. This little screwdriver and the metal braces. Then the side panels, the little plexiglass handle rod, and the 4 bases. A fan, which we'll talk about a little bit. And then one other thing that they include is 4 of these micro SD card reroute extension things, and I have no idea if they're any good or not. There's been a couple of comments on a couple of the forums I've been on that say they had trouble, but basically what this does is it reroutes that micro SD card out to the back where you can plug it in better. We'll test it and see if it works, and like I said, there's 4 of those for the different Raspberry Pis that you could stack in this. Now they include a fan, which is probably a rather inexpensive one, and we will find out if it makes too much noise. And it has optional RGB lighting, which may or may not be what I want to see. And you can see from the picture here is pretty colors. We'll see how that looks. It might be fun, but if the fan makes noise, then we're not even going to bother with that. And just to cover this up, to be careful or to be prepared, I got a Noctua reasonably quiet, not the super quiet ones, but the quiet one, really quiet one. And this one's a little different. It's a 5-volt fan instead of a 12-volt fan, and it has a USB adapter, so you can plug it into USB rather than using the little Raspberry Pi connectors. One of the reasons I don't particularly want to use these is there'll be a hat on at least one of the Raspberry Pis, and I don't want to that to interfere. So this has an extension cable, the USB adapter cable, the Omni join cable, mounting stuff to anti-vibration, and the mounting screws. I'm not even going to open this right now. It's very typical fan sort of setup. So there is the equipment that we're going to use for this new Raspberry Pi server streamer using 2 Pis, 2 Pi4s actually. And let's just real quick take a look at the rest of the stuff in the kit. So we have these side panels, which are kind of a gray plastic, and they've put their logo in there. That's kind of nice. And then here are the 2 fan mounts and the little plastic handle for on the top. Here's the other side panel. And these are their nice little board mounts for each of the Raspberry Pi. So it gives you the layout to put where to put the Raspberry Pi, where to put a Jetson Nano if you're using that, and how to mount a SSD. And so one of the systems we'll be using will have an SSD in it, and we may I may just mount that SSD on here. Let's see, looks about like that. Yep, that's the right places. Then the SSD, rather than using a daughter board, we'll use this little adapter. This isn't the SSD I'm going to use, but it happened to be handy on the bench. That'll sit in there, and then this will plug into the Raspberry Pi. Cable's a little long, but we'll dress it up and make it look nice. So that's the process. What I'm going to do is stop this here, and then we'll do a second video of assembling this with the Raspberry Pis in it.